Lucrezia Borgia, femme fatale, one of the most famous femme fatales of all time. Beautiful woman, supposedly one of the most beautiful women of her time period during the Italian Renaissance. You see how I draw these lines first. I think she was from Aragon, Spain. And she was Spanish-Italian. She had blonde hair all the way down to her knees. And she married a bunch of times. One of her husbands was murdered, supposedly by her own family, because he kind of got in the way of their plans. The Borgias were not exactly the nicest people in the world. Renaissance was an interesting time period. You know, it's funny because you go to the Renaissance fairs and everything's all clean and nice. There's a lot of murdering going on. A lot of unsavory characters back then. But of course, the Renaissance is the most important time for artwork. It's when we went from medieval, which, you know, I like it, don't get me wrong, but if you look at it from an artistic perspective, it was terrible. Perspectives were off, everything was off. And then the Renaissance came and they did pretty much everything. It's amazing how they went from the medieval to the Renaissance artistically. And as you know, this is a speed drawing exercise. I go as fast as I possibly can. I'm not going for accuracy here. Lots of things to know about, not just that she was a beautiful blonde, but a lot of things to know. I'm not going to do every single hair here. It's going to be a lot. But she's the daughter of a pope. That's true. Pope Alexander VI. She supposedly had a poison ring. That's right, where people wouldn't be paying attention, and she'd have a little thing in her ring where she had poison, and she'd slip the poison into your wine and you die. And she supposedly killed a bunch of people that way. Is that true? More than likely, no. I think when it comes to the murders, I don't think she was the one taking part. She was both loved and hated. One of those interesting situations. She supposedly sat on the papal throne when she was young. I do believe that because she was a favorite of her father. And her father, it's weird, if you go back at the reviews, he was both a highly rated and a highly corrupt pope at the same time. What that means, you tell me. History is funny. I'm on the art side of it, not really the history side of it. Yeah, I do have a good understanding of the history, but it's more for the artistic side. So yes, Pope Alexander VI was a womanizer. He had a lot of children out of wedlock. She was planned, not an affair. It's actually from, I think she's the daughter of his wife. But Pope Alexander had a lot of illegitimate children, and I think she's had her share of illegitimate children as well. I have to look that up. I don't know the numbers. But she had a bunch, and she had several husbands, and one of them was murdered by her family. So I'm sure she was aware, because I think the story goes that the one that was murdered was no longer No longer would have the marriage benefited the family, so she put the family first. She was accused of incestual relations with her brother. That's not true. Or it may be, but I don't think it was true. I think it was slander. Because the media at the time, there were different factions, and there are, of course, factions that hated her guts. Because they hated her family. Nothing personal against you, Lucrezia. They hate your family, so they're going to make up all kinds of stories. I've never drawn hair like this before, so you have to excuse me for being slow. This is, mine was curly, but not this curly. Wow. This is not easy to draw. Of course, Katie has curly hair and not these type of curls, so these are not easy to do. Let's get some clothing in here. So yeah, Borgias were known for nepotism. They were a very corrupt family, very powerful, very influential in the Italian Renaissance. And they married her off. I'm definitely not going to do those leaves. They married her off for power. So who knows? If she ever fell in love with her husbands, I don't know. I was not there. I couldn't tell you one way or another. But I do know that she put her family first above her husband's. And maybe one of them she was really in love with. I couldn't tell you. I really need to do more research on the Borgias. There's actually a TV show on, is it HBO or Netflix or whatever, on the Borgias, and I need to get around to watching that too. And of course, they're going to have their angle. Because everybody has their angle. I have my angle. Don't think for a second that I'm not biased. Because if you saw Elizabeth Bathory was last week, and I talked about how much of her killing I think she actually did. I don't think she was innocent, but I don't think she killed, 650 people? As for Lucrezia Borgia, I do not believe in the poison ring, because I think that was a media attack on her. Because, attack everyone in the family, not just the big man, the cardinal who became Pope Alexander VI. And yeah, there were popes who had sex. I know today's ones don't, but back then there were also popes that had swords and killed people and fought in battles. This is all true. You could look this up yourself. Okay. So yeah, the poison ring, I don't believe. Don't believe the incest. I do believe the long blonde hair. I don't know if it was all the way past her knees like they claimed. And I don't remember the total number of children. I got to look that up too. But there's a lot of paintings of her. She modeled for quite a few. This one actually shows one of her nipples, but I can't show that because this is supposed to be my G-rated show, so you don't get to see that. Okay, and we are pretty much done. I told you this is a speed drawing car, so we go as fast as we possibly can. And what I do is I do the outline, I do a vertical center line, I do the line for the eyes, line for the mouth, and then erase those lines. You can still see traces. Let's see if we can get those out. And we go as fast as we possibly can. And you know what? Her face is a little bit hard. Let's see if we can soften the angles a little bit. There. She was a beautiful woman. And that kind of makes her face look harder than it should be. Maybe soften this a little bit. Ah, this is what's missing. Here were some eyelashes too. Really draw attention to the eyes. That's one thing, if you want to make a woman beautiful, draw attention to the eyes and the lips. Most important part of a woman's face. Much better. All right, Lucrezia Borgia, folks.